So in this session, we will talk about subsetting the data. Basically, we will work with the data and talk about the operation of subset and data, and then we can, create some ordered factors and visualize it. So what we will do now is, as a first step, what we would do is check the get working directory. What is our current working directory? So to do that, as we have seen in the earlier session, it would be in get wd, and in this case it is already cr sample data, which is correct. If it is not correct in your case, the working directory which you want to set, you can do that with the help of this command set wd cr sample data. In my case, in your case, you can set it accordingly. So let me execute this, and once you set the working directory, to check it again, you can again execute this command get wd. Okay, so now what we will do is we will read a CSV file called as test.csv. How to do that? Read.csv, and inside this we can pass the CSV file which we want to read. So once we do this, the data would be present inside the CLDF. So let me execute this CLDF, and if we do a head of CLDF, we can see the sample data over here. So this is the top 6 rows. Now let us do the operation called as subsetting the data. For example, inside the CLDF, you have all the data present inside it. So let's say if you want to subset a data, and if you want to see a particular set of data based on a certain parameter. For example, in this case, if you want to see data which is related only to country code 10, then you can view it accordingly. So in this case, if you see, this is the head command, and this is the these are the different columns which are present. Now let us say if I want to see here the data which is related to country code 10, this is the column for country code, and you can see this row can be considered, and this row can be considered wherein the country code is 10. Okay, so to subset the data, what we can do, we can make use of subset. So here what you can write is subset, and then you can pass the data frame over here. So subset, pass the data frame, and then comma, you can write the country code. So in this case, what we want to see is the country code, where the country code is 10. Okay, so here we have written country code double equal to, you can see, is equal to, which is 10, and we are storing it inside country code subset. So let me execute this. So, and now if you want to see this data country code subset, you can write country code subset, and let me execute this. So this is giving you exact 2 rows. So here see, the country code is 10, the rows which belong where the country code is equal to 10. If you want to see the dimension, you can write dim, and inside this you can pass this country code subset over here. Let me execute this, and here you can see 2 rows and 5 columns, the dimension as 2 and 5. So let us see another way to subset our data. So what we can do is we can use this method. For example, you can write your data set, and inside that you can pass the row and your column. So in this case, if you see here, what we are doing, we are taking this CLDF, which is our data set. Okay, inside this we should pass the row. In this case, it is CLDF $ country code. Okay, so what we are passing, the row over here where the country code is equal to 10, and comma, the column. So here what we are doing is we are keeping it blank, so that we would receive all the columns. Okay, so that's the reason we have kept it over here as blank. We are not passing any values over here. So what it will do is it will again take these fetch the rows with all the columns where country code is equal to 10. So what I am doing is I am storing it inside country code data. So let me execute this over here, and to see the dimension what I can do is dim country code, and here you can see 2,5. So if you want to just see the data again, you can do that. You can just write over here country code data, and if I execute this, you can see this, the data is coming where the country code is 10. If you want to view the table command, you can do that. Table inside this sale df and product type, for example, you can run this. If you want to see the summary of that, summary of sale df, you can do it. If you want to see the str structure, str sale df. Okay, so now here if you see, we have when we execute sale df, we can see here over the different columns, like here product type, country code, region code, highest sales, and these are like here it is integer, the product type is character, the country code, region code, highest sales, these are all integer. Now let us assume that what we want to do is we want to factor, you want to create a factor for this product type. So what, how we can do is, we have already seen how to convert it into a factor earlier in the earlier sessions. So what you can do is you can write factor over here and then sale df, and you can write the product type. You can pass this product type over here, and you can store it inside this again, product type. Okay, so this will be updated if I execute this. And now if you want to check the levels of that, we can do that, levels, and inside this sale df product type, if I execute this, you can see the levels over here. The levels are ABC. Now if I want to again execute this sale df, the structure of str of sale df, I can do that, control enter. And now if you see here, earlier here it was character, then we changed it to factor. Okay, with three levels. Levels are A, B and C. Now let us say if you want to visualize this data, you can do that. Just load this library ggplot2. You can control enter, then you can make use of a qplot, where you can pass the data which is sale df, and you can pass this x is equal to product type. So if you want to visualize this data, you can do that, and this is executed, and this is your data wherein you have the product types which is A, B and C. Now let us talk about ordered factors. So let me just clear the screen over here first. Okay, so let us talk about ordered factors. So what I have done is I've created I have this sample data called as employee data.csv. So here what we will do is, first we will read this CSV file. For reading a CSV file, we can write read.csv, and inside this we can pass employee data.csv, which is the name of the file. So this will be saved inside employee data df, which is our data frame. So let me execute this, and this is executed. If you want to see the head of employee data df, which is head of the data frame, we can see this is the head command, again str. Okay, here you can see we have different columns: ID, gender, age group, marital status, employment status, education and income level. So here if you can see, the data consists of int and character. Okay, if you want to see the column names, you can execute this names, and then you can pass this employee data df. Now let us assume that the data what we are getting from employee data.csv consists of factors, and I can say that the income level and the age group, this one age group which is character, here we can assume that this is a factor, and the income level which is a character. So for our learning purpose, what we will do is we will change this from character to a factor, and the income level also from character to a factor. Okay, so let me execute this names command, and here you can see the different columns which are present, which is part of the data frame. Now the first thing what we would do now is to change the character for age group. It is character, we'll change it to factor. Okay, so how to do that? Factor, and then you can pass employee data frame, and you can pass this dollar sign age group. And if you execute this, so we have already seen this multiple times. So this is factor is generated for age group. Similarly, we'll create this factor for income level. Please note here that the column name itself contains dot over here. Okay, the income level, the column name of this data frame is income level, then dot. Okay, please do not get confused. See here, employee data df and then income level dot. So let me execute this. So we have created two factors now. Now let me do str employee data frame. Now here you can see these are the int, and we have created two factors, which is age group and which is the income level. So for our learning and demonstration purpose, I have changed it from character to factor. So now you can assume that the data what we are getting from the source is of this type. Okay, the age group is of factor and the income level is of type factor. The id and your gender, here you can see int, and all other variables like marital columns like marital status, employment status, and education is of type character. So if you want to see the levels of age group, you can do that. You can just execute this levels, employee data df, then age group. Here you can see the different levels. One is 20 to 22, second is 23 to 30, 34 to 40, 40 to 45, and under 20. These are the levels of the age group. If you want to visualize it, you can do that with the help of qplot. You can pass this data. Data is equal to employee data df, which is your data frame, and the next is equal to age group, which is the name of that column. If I run this, okay, and here if you see this, this is my age group. So if you see here carefully, this bar is for age group from 20 to 22 age. The second is from 23 to 30. The third is from 34 to 40, 40 to 45, and this is under 20. Okay, this is under 20. Now generally what happens is when you see these kind of histograms bars over here, what you generally consider is, okay, this is 20 to 22, 23 to 30, 34 to 40. Okay, you assume that, okay, so in this way it would be like the age group would be increasing. Let's say this is 34 to 40, this is 40 to 45, and this should be 45 to 50, right? But here if you see here, the last part, this is under 20. So ideally this should be the first one. Ideally it should be first under 20, then 20 to 22, then 23 to 30, then 34 to 40, and then 40 to 45. So what we are now going to do is we are setting the level of the ordered factors. Okay, so here what you can do is you can make use of ordered over here. See, what I have written is ordered. Then I am passing this employee data df dollar sign age group. Okay, this one is age group, and then I am setting the levels over here. Comma levels is equal to, see, under this what I am passing. First I am passing this under 20, then 20 to 22, then 23 to 30, then 34 to 40, and then at last 40 to 45. Okay, so let me execute this, and this is getting stored in again the same column, employee data df age group. Let me execute this, and this is executed. Now let me plot this diagram again. How to do that? Qplot. You can pass data is equal to employee data df, which is your data frame, and the next is equal to age group, which is your column. So let me execute this, and here I have the plot present. So let me see this plot. Now, so this one under 20 was present at the last, which was not correct if you see ideally. So now if you see at the age group, you can see that first it is under 20, then it is 20 to 22, then 23 to 30, then 34 to 40, and then at last it is 40 to 45, which is correct, right? If you see it ideally, first one is like the age group below 20, then 20 to 20, then slowly gradually it is increasing. So now we have seen how to set the level of an ordered factor. Now there is an alternate solution to this. One type of one method is to write here ordered and then pass the data frame over here, the data frame and the column name, then setting the levels. Okay. Now we'll talk about the alternate solution, like the second method, how you can achieve the same thing. Okay, so what I will do is, again I've taken this same example, read.csv. I'm reading this CSV and putting it inside employee data df, again head, the str structure and the names of the employee data df. Now what I'm doing is again doing the same thing, repeating the same code. Actually I've copy pasted the code to save time. So creating a factor for age group and creating factor for income level, and then you can see here str of employee data df, which is the structure of the data frame. So we have converted this to factor for the age group and again converted to factor for income levels. If you want to check the levels, we can do that, and then qplot, here we will see the age group over here. So here you can see again it is 20 to 22, and then last you can see here it is under 20. So now we were talking about the alternate solution, how to achieve the same thing, how can we bring this under 20 at the first column. Okay, so here what we can do is we can make use of this factor. What I have written here, it is factor, and then what I am passing employee data df dollar age group, which is your column name, and then inside this I am passing the levels. Levels is equal to C. First one is under 20, then 20 to 22, 23 to 30, 34 to 40, then 40 to 45, and then at last what I'm doing, I'm setting this ordered is equal to T, which is true. Okay, now if I execute this, okay, and let me just visualize this data over here. What I'm doing, qplot data is equal to employee data df, which is the data frame, and then x is equal to age group, which is the column name. Let me execute this, and after executing this we can see that over here first it is under 20, then 20 to 22, then 23 to 30, then 34 to 40, and then at last 40 to 45, which is correct. Okay, so now we have talked about two ways of doing it. The first one was using this way, the ordered one. Okay, this way, this method ordered, passing the column name and then levels. The second one was using factor. Here it is, factor, passing this column name employee df dollar age group, and then setting the levels, and then at last comma ordered is equal to T, which is true. Okay, and then we have visualized the data. So we are doing the same thing for income levels also. If you execute this here, if you execute this here, you will see that the income levels which are present in the data sheet is of, here you can see it is 1000 to 1200, this is 10,000 to 15,000, then 5,000 to 7,000, and then 8,000 to 10,000. See here the 10,000 to 15,000 should be moved at the last column. So how it should be? It should be 1,000 to 1,200, then 5,000 to 7,000, then 8,000 to 10,000, and then at last it should be 10,000 to 15,000. This is the ideal way, and this should be so we'll change this to the correct one. Okay, so here for demonstration purpose, let us choose the alternate solution. So let me minimize this over here. So what we can write over here is employee data df, and then dollar sign. Here what we can give is the income level. See here it is the column itself contains dot, income level dot, hence do not be confused. And what we can write is, we can write factor. Inside this factor we can pass this employee data df, and then dollar sign, income level, okay, and comma. Here we can write the different levels is equal to, and here C, and inside this we can pass, and here we can write comma, ordered is equal to T. And now inside this we will write, first we will write 1000 to 1200, then the second one was I think 5000 to, yes, 5000 to 7000, and then 8000 to 10,000. Okay, okay, this one, and then comma, inside this 5000 to 7000, then 8000 to 10,000, then 10,000 to 15,000. Okay, and our last order is equal to T is already present, so we have written this. And okay, let us now visualize the data. Q plot, and we can write data is equal to employee df, comma, income level. So let me execute this. This is done, and let me just visualize the data now. Chart is ready. Now let us see this. Now if you see here, now we can see the correct positioning of the different bars here: 1000 to 1200, 5000 to 7000, 8000 to 10,000, and then 10,000 to 15,000. Okay, which is correct. So we have seen in this session we have talked about how to subset a data, okay, and how to set the level of the ordered factors, and we have talked about the two solutions, the two ways how we can achieve this.